Hello beautiful people, it's Scent Gourmand. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a couple of shoes, or a pair of shoes I want to share with you today, a new pair. I have a little bit of a bag talk and a bag reveal, and then I'll get into a fragrance. I might end up stopping halfway through because it's late in the day. I gotta go to bed, I have to get up early tomorrow, so we'll see how I feel by the time I finish blabbering on. So let's get started. First I just want to share a new pair of Croc Shoes. Jajang. These are a nice pair of loafers that I purchased on Mercari for a mere 4,000 yen. They are Italian leather. They smell fantastic and they have quite a boxy toe going on, so it gives you a lot of wiggle room, as you might imagine. However, they're a little tight to get on and off. I need one of these shoe horns here to slip on and off, so they're not ideal for someone living in Japan like myself, who has to sometimes take them off during the day to get on to things like tatami. Most of the days that's not the case though. I work in a regular Western style office, so I'll keep the shoes on. But these have been on my wish list for a long time. Very happy to finally have them. And they are Italian leather, not the luxury style. They've got like more of a plastic type back as opposed to like a thick leather thing, and no fancy branding. I'm not familiar with the brand. Yes, my friends, this is the state of my favorite shoes. It was time to buy a new pair. Both of these kind of died around the same time. This one's still good, but it's starting to crack. Ugh. These are a great brand too, Echo. But what I really like about these in particular being Croc printed is that they match my Staud bag. Now, not perfectly. This is a warm brown, whereas this is more of a cool brown, and this is glossier, but they have the same Croc effect, and I think, you never have your bags right next to your shoes when you're out and about. So I think, put them far enough apart and they look like they're a matching set, which is kind of nice, I think. So very excited about that, and I think tomorrow I will be wearing these with my Staud bag. I haven't worn this for a while, actually. Actually, I just changed out from this one here into that one. This is not a real Hermes bag. This is a dupe. Yeah, I've worn this the last few days, and I'm going to talk about all my Hermes dupes here. I've got 4 in total now, and I'll get into that now. So this bag, this is a 25 Epsom leather, imitation Epsom leather, I guess. I love this. This is a bit of, well, I've gone into this in detail, so I won't go into more detail about the description of it. I'll put you a link up here if you want to know more about the bag. But what I have found is that I can only ever use this with it open, which is how I wear it anyway, if I'm honest. But the reason I can never close it properly is because it really does, if you want to close it like I just had it here, you really have to squish it at the top, which means there's a lot less than you think can fit in here. So it's a bit misleading, and sometimes I want to do up the buckle. So I find that if I use this bag, it's not really feasible for me to use both my wallet, which is small, and my mini pochette. And these are 2 things I do like to have with me. I can take stuff out of here and put it in there, but I've come to realize that I'd like to have all my bags fit all my things and not have to worry about mixing things up all the time. So I think in the future, if I'm going to go for an everyday sort of bag, because I did mention that I wanted one like this, but in silver hardware, I'm going to go for a size 28 or even 30. I think 30 or 32 they come in. A fake one, of course. I'm not going to buy Hermes at their prices unless I win suddenly a ton of money, which is unlikely. And you know what? I've said this before, but even if I do get uber rich, I don't think spending money on a bag is an investment, unless of course you stack it away in a safe without the intention of wearing it. And I'd just rather put my money in the S&P than have a bag that's too nice to wear. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's the situation with the 25 bag. And then more recently I revealed to you this Kelly pochette bag that I got that comes with a strap. This one is different from the real McCoy in that it also has straps that are built in here, which is great. And when I got this, I spoke so highly of it. I still conceptually think it's fantastic, and the size is great. I much prefer the pochette size to the mini Kelly size. This is 22 inches versus 19, or is it centimeters? Yeah, it's centimeters. Look at the difference here. The beige one is the mini Kelly. So it's longer, and it's also a little wider, and it's also flexible, so you can stuff more in it. Now, what I didn't like about this after using it for quite some time is that unlike, here it is, this mini Kelly, which you can sort of leave casually open, even leave open like this, because it's very structured and it can just hang like that. And I find that really convenient and comfortable. This one, unfortunately, from the way it's designed, if you leave this open, it doesn't work. This sort of hangs open too much when I'm wearing it as a crossbody, and it's not as secure. So that's not gonna work for me, guys. So I am going to sell this one. It's gonna go the way of the dodo. So much for the pochette. It's not interchangeable. I guess it needs to be made of a very stiff leather, and the Kelly is like the Cellier version. I don't think they make a rotund bag in this size, but basically really stiff. It's got to be stiff, otherwise it's not going to work the way I want it to work. And then regarding this bag and this bag, I'm probably going to sell at least one of these. I love both of these, and I've talked to great length about how much I love them, despite them being so small. But they are a little small, I'll be honest. And online, I recently found another dupe retailer. I'll talk about it if I finally purchase from them. They sell non-authentic, well, non-authentic, I mean, they're all non-authentic. They sell dupes of the mini Kelly that are as big as this one. So basically they've upped the size a bit. Hermes doesn't make a model in that size, 22. It's either 19 or it's 22. So, but 22 appears to be the tiny size that does work for me. And in this model, that would be great. And they have it in a box leather with silver hardware. So I think I'm gonna go and buy it. It's not very expensive. It's probably crappy quality, but what the heck. These were good enough for me, and these were uber cheap. I mean, I bought this one secondhand for a song. This one I did pay a bit of money for, so this one I might keep actually, because it goes with a couple pairs of shoes. This one here I find really hard to match with my wardrobe. It's just that tone of brown doesn't seem to match the browns that I own. And I prefer these, I guess I do prefer these chocolatey, darker browns in general rather than those tan browns. There's just too many color variances and potential warm, cool options. I just find it a big brown mesh pool. So yeah, we're gonna say goodbye to that. Maybe keep this one. We'll see how much more use I get out of it. So that's the Kelly situation. And then I have one more bag I want to share with you guys. And this is a handmade item from someone on Mercari that makes handbags from kimono obi, which is something my mother and I wanted to do. I collect obi, I send them to her. I was gonna, I mean, I have put them up on Etsy, but the shop's since been sort of put on hold. Isn't that pretty? This is, I like the size of this. It's very long. I think it's like 40 inches across. But it's a very narrow, it's a very like low, I guess that's the size of the belt. It goes like this way. So it's not very deep. So unfortunately it's not big enough to hold my computer, because the computer would probably go above the handles here. That's just not right. But I love the east-west look of bags. I find it more flattering for my larger girth, and yeah, I like it a lot. Right now I haven't used it yet. I'm only using it to hold my soaps. I started soap making, not the cold press soap, but rather the melt and pour variety. So I experimented and made these lavender soaps. They've got some mica separating them here, but they're just, I've wrapped them already. I'm gonna give these to friends. They're lavender. Lavender with some glycerin and some goat's milk soap. Yeah, they're nice. I'm pretty impressed with myself. I remember at one time my mom was going to take all the materials that I have been sending back to her over the years, and she said she would make stuff out of them. But my mom is, you know, she's pushing 90 now, and I don't think she wants to do all that. She likes making things, but I think if she's going to continue making things, she's probably going to want to do more crocheting. She loves to crochet in front of the TV, and that's easy to do in front of the TV, and she could be there with my dad. So yeah, I think I've been burdening her with all these kimono obi that I've been sending to her over the years. And rather than suggest that she make anything, I'm just gonna take those obis and maybe sell them at some point. I mean, that was part of my goal with opening an Etsy store, which I've since turned off. And this bag, you know, it's not worth making these things, I think, for the amount of money that they're selling for. At least here, I paid very little for this. Certainly not enough to pay for the person's time who made this. It can't, I mean, even if it took an hour to make, as little as an hour, it's not reimbursing her for the time that she put into this, the price that I paid for that. So yeah, something to really treasure, I think. And it's fully lined. It's got pockets in it. I think I'm going to start buying some of these and collecting them as gifts to bring home, because they're just lovely. Handmade touch. I mean, it's not something I made. I'm not good enough for that. I can make soap. I can even make perfume. I'm trying to learn how to do that too. But I don't think I could ever learn how to sew, especially at this level. There's a lot of really talented knitters and seamstresses here in Japan, so I'm blessed to have that around me and take advantage of it. Okay, and now there is one more thing I want to turn to before ending this video, and that is a new perfume I recently got from Lattafa. Here it is. It's Her Confession, a very much hyped box. And I mean, look at the presentation here. You've got this box with her head showing through, and it's presented in this felt box like this. But you know what, guys? I think this is a fake, and it blows my mind that a dupe house would be duped, but I think it is. And it shouldn't surprise me, actually, because those mid-range prices in most of the world, they actually end up being the most copied. Look at Coach, for example. Coach, especially back in the 90s, was hardly considered a luxury brand by that time. They were diluted. They were competing with Michael Kors, and they positioned themselves wrongly. Now they're back on track. They're more luxury oriented, but at that time they had their monogram all over the place. They had a lot of those shops. And if you go to different parts of Asia, at least has been the case in my experience, you can see Coach bags duped, you know, counterfeited everywhere. And I heard somewhere, and I can't confirm that this is true, but that Coach is actually the most duped handbag, which surprises me because you would think it would be more Hermes and things like that. But I guess that's, and maybe it has changed. I don't know. Things have changed a lot since the 90s. So, and that's of course what I'm speaking about. This does smell good. It's gaudy as hell. I mean, what do you expect? It's an Arabic brand, but actually this looks quite nice on my eclectic counter over there, and it smells good. The only thing is it's supposed to be Her Confession, but on the bottle here, it says His Confession. So when I saw that, I thought, oh, that's weird. It's a misprint. And I thought, oh, maybe they make misprints. But then I thought, I don't think they'll make misprints. So I decided to start looking into this box. I scanned the codes here and on the hologram print, and there's one under here too. The one here took me to the Lattafa site. The one here also took me to the right site, but the hologram one, which is supposed to be the authenticator code, took me to the site, but then gave me a warning stating that, this might not be an original. Please, you know, look into it. So I actually wrote a letter to Lattafa, and I showed them the website, and of course I haven't heard back from them, and I don't know if I will, but they're going to let me know. And then I went back to the posting from which I purchased this, and you know what, guys? I looked more closely at the pictures and I found that they were AI generated. So I think I did get a fake one. Now, whether the fake one is as identical smelling to the original, I can't tell you, but I can tell you that I like how this smells. Very nice. And we'll get into that later because I'm tired and I want to go to bed, so I'll have to finish this video later. And my shoulder hurts. I've got old man's shoulder. That's what they call it in Japan, where you can't lift your arm laterally. And I've had this affliction before, but yesterday it was really bad. And today I know I'm going to have a bad sleep too. So I'm going to take a couple of aspirin and hope I don't get PMR, which is what my mom has. She had both of them. It's a type of rheumatoid arthritis when you can't lift both of your arms. She said it was hell, and she had to be on prednisone for a while, which is a dangerous drug to be on long term. So I'm hoping that I don't get that. Okay, good night. I'll catch up to you in a second your time. Okay guys, I have to admit it's now well over a month later and I'd completely forgotten about this video. My shoulder's fine, I'd just gotten too busy at work. And that's my excuse for the channel neglect. But I've not forgotten about this scent, let me tell you. In fact, I've been using it on the regular for several months. That's how long it's been. Oh, I've been getting compliments galore. So even if this is in fact a dupe of a really pricey perfume, which the dreamy milky magic called Blanche Bête is, if I had not mentioned that earlier, it does really smell delish, and it doesn't carry a hefty price tag. Now, because this actually smells great, real or not, let's assume this is not a dupe of a dupe, but the genuine dupe, Lattafa Her Confession. Because though I can't claim with absolute certainty, I suspect the juice in here, very much likely smells and performs the same as the real Lattafa. I mean, again, this could be just a misprint, and it is the real Lattafa. But anyway, this fragrance feels like a little secret you weren't supposed to find. Lattafa Her Confession's been quietly making waves in the fragrance community as a soft, creamy, vanilla-forward alternative to that high-end niche darling. But is it just a cheap imitation, or is there something genuinely special going on here? Let's dive into it. So the perfumer behind this fragrance is non-disclosed. That's typical with Lattafa, but it's clear that the composition is aiming for that soft, enveloping, lactonic floral style that's recently become increasingly popular. No, the bottle is not to my taste, but I admit that to some, this might feel like elegant. It's a matter of personal preference. You could say that you're getting a soft, feminine aesthetic here with the creamy, busted bottle, and then there's that little packaging in the box with the window where you see the bust through it. Makes it pretty novel and highly giftable. Now, I've since ripped out the interior of my box and I use it to store some mini bottles and other odds and ends. Yeah, it's a nice box. Now on to the scent itself. Her Confession opens with a soft, slightly sweet, very sweet, I think, introduction that melts into a creamy, almost steamed milk texture. You get light florals and some sort of sweetness at the top. And yeah, honestly, this fragrance is tricky to dissect into distinctive notes. It's more about an overall feeling. As it develops, the heart brings in that signature tuberose, which is smooth. It's not overly indolic, and it's blended in a way that feels airy rather than heavy. If you're someone who usually finds tuberose too loud or too mature vintage, as I tend to do, then actually this might surprise you. And then we move on to the base, and this is where the fragrance really settles into its core identity. Think warm vanilla, soft musk, and that milky accord that gives it a skin-like comforting quality. It's creamy without being cloying, sweet without being juvenile. There's a kind of intimate softness here that makes it feel like a second skin. And in terms of structure, I would say this leans more on the linear side. It doesn't dramatically transform from the top to base. Instead, you're getting shifts and it smooths out over time. What you smell in the first 20-30 minutes is pretty representative of the whole experience, I feel. It just becomes warmer and more skin-like and more blended as it dries down. Now, I've actually only smelled Blanche Bête once, I admit, and it was quite a while ago, but there's no denying the similarity in concept here. Both fragrances revolve around this ethereal, milky, vanilla tuberose profile. From what I can remember though, Blanche Bête feels more airy, more diffusive, and a bit more complex in its construction. I mean, you do tend to get what you pay for. Her Confession, assuming the misprinted bottle here I have is the real McCoy, Lattafa McCoy that is. It's slightly denser, a bit sweeter, and arguably more straightforward, but it does capture that vibe well, especially consider the price difference. For many people, this will scratch the same itch at a fraction of the cost. Performance is another strong point to this juice. On most skin types, you're looking at moderate to strong longevity, around 6 to 8 hours, I guess, sometimes more on clothing. I find it lasts quite a while. I find it strong, actually. Depending on how much you spray of this, I think the sillage is also moderate. This isn't a room-filling fragrance, but it can be. It creates a scent bubble that's pleasant for close encounters. The projection is, like most perfumes, strong at first, and then it settles closer to the skin, which actually suits the intimate nature of this type of scent. But really, you got to be careful not to overspray this. I wore this in a professional setting once after overspraying and got reprimanded for it. I could smell it, and if you can smell it on yourself hours after first application, without intentionally sniffing yourself that is, you've probably overdone it. This fragrance also shines in terms of its versatility. Good for day and night, office safe, yes, but don't overspray. Date night, sure. And season-wise, I think it leans slightly to cooler weather, fall and winter, but thanks to its airy softness, you could probably get away with warmer weather as well, especially in climate-controlled environments. It's one of those fragrances that feels cozy without being too heavy. And it's clearly aimed at people who enjoy soft, feminine, comforting scents, fans of lactonic notes for sure, vanilla, and gentle florals. But honestly, it can be unisex in its execution. Anyone who appreciates that creamy, musky scent profile could easily wear this. And size-wise, this is your 100 ml bottle here, and Her Confession allows for that standard. I think this is the main size, actually. But pricing is where things really get attractive. I think it depends where you shop and what country you live in, but I've seen this generally between 25 and 40 US dollars on most online sites. For me in Japan, though, a little bit more expensive. But overall, I really like this, and I've put a sizable dent. I think I've probably used a third of it by now. It delivers this niche-inspired experience at a designer or even budget price. And if you love milky vanilla fragrances and you're curious about Blanche Bête but hesitant to invest, or if you simply want an easy, everyday, sweet comfort scent that feels a bit special, this is absolutely one to check out. God, I love that there are scents out there that smell this good without making your wallet cry. Okay, my lovelies, I hope I won't make you wait as long for my next video. Clearly, you never know with me. Mwah! Smell you later.